Hello everyone and welcome to my YouTube channel. Today we're going to talk about the Symphony of the Seas Backstage Tour, which is offered to their Crown and Anchor Society members who reach a certain status in their program. Since I'm currently Diamond, I get to participate in the tour. I've done several of these tours before. However, this tour was feature one of my favorite Broadway musicals, Hairspray. It was interesting to see how they bring one of my favorite musicals to life every single night. The tour was hosted by the production manager, the dance captain, and Brooklyn, who plays the lead character of Tracy Turnblad. These three lovely ladies started the tour with the usual question and answer session. However, what made this session unique was the fact that the lead of the show and the production assistant were both there. Usually with these sessions, they're hosted by ensemble players. While this is valuable information, the experience that a lead actor or a production assistant had is vastly different from someone in the ensemble. The production assistant was asked about her role in the show, which is to make sure that all of the sets and technical aspects of the show are working as they should be. Something I didn't know about her role actually happened to me while I was watching Saturday Night Fever on Symphony of the Seas last year. The production assistant or the cast can call a stay, which means the show will stop. When this happens, it means that there's something technically wrong or it's not safe for the cast to continue. When I was watching the final performance of Saturday Night Fever last year, they placed a stay on the show just before the big dance-off. The show was only stopped for about 5 minutes, and while I didn't know the reason behind it was, the information provided more context as to why the call was made. Brooklyn was also asked about the casting for the leads of a show. She mentioned that's not always the same for everyone. She mentioned that they go through the initial process of doing the singing, the dancing, and the acting auditions, but sometimes they're called back for several rounds of callbacks before they sign a contract, and that you can actually audition for other shows while you're awaiting the results of other auditions. In some cases, if you express an interest in a role but don't get the part initially and accept another contract, if a spot opens up for the role you want, you may be released from your current contract to replace the performer that's leaving. She went on to explain that this happened to the cast member that's currently playing Seaweed in Hairspray. He auditioned for the role and didn't get it, so he accepted another contract aboard Mariner of the Seas. The performer who got the role decided to go back to school to become a dentist, so he got a call from Royal Caribbean telling him that they were releasing him early from his contract and that he was being offered the role of Seaweed. Brooklyn also went on to explain that there's performers of all ages involved in the production, and they're usually given a card to identify them as underage for certain activities and responsibilities on the ship, which I hadn't heard of before. After the question and answer session, we were taken backstage for a tour of the sets. I was in Brooklyn's tour group, and she showed us the costumes and things like that, but also how to know where they would be needed and when. Overall, I'm always excited to take the Backstage tour and cannot wait to go again. So, seasoned cruisers, have you ever been on the Backstage tour before? Would you recommend it for new cruisers? We would love to hear your opinion in the comments below. And as always, bon voyage!